Welcome back to CloudMind Academy, where we make Salesforce concepts clearer, more practical, and easier to retain. In this lesson, we're focusing on Data 360 setup and administration. Now, this is an important topic because it helps you understand what happens behind the scenes when Data 360 is introduced into a Salesforce org. It is not just about enabling a feature. It is also about setting up the right administrator, granting the right user access, controlling visibility, and making sure Data 360 connects properly with the broader Salesforce platform. And that matters for two reasons. First, it matters for real-world implementation because administrators need to configure the platform correctly before users can begin working in it. And second, it matters for certification prep because exam questions often test whether you understand not only what a feature does, but also how it should be set up, who should have access to it, and what governance rules apply. So in this lesson, we'll walk through the initial setup process, supported editions, user access, permission sets, sharing rules, data spaces, and important limits. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to explain the initial setup process for Salesforce Data 360, describe how administrators manage Data 360 user access, understand how permission sets, profiles, and sharing rules affect access control, and describe how Data 360 connects to Salesforce CRM and other Salesforce clouds. Now, let's look at the initial setup sequence more closely. The first stage of Data 360 setup includes several important administrative steps. These include configuring the admin user, provisioning the Data 360 platform, adding new users, assigning profiles or permission sets, setting up sharing rules, and connecting Data 360 to Salesforce clouds. This sequence matters because each step builds on the previous one. For example, before users can be granted access, Data 360 must first be provisioned. And before setup tasks can be completed, the administrator must have the correct permission set assigned. Next, let's review supported editions. Data 360 is available only in Lightning Experience. It is supported in Developer Edition, Enterprise Edition, Performance Edition, and Unlimited Edition. This is important because edition support is a prerequisite. In other words, before an organization can even begin setting up Data 360, the Salesforce environment must support it. This is one of those foundational details that may appear simple, but it can be tested directly in certification questions. So when you think about Data 360 setup, remember that setup begins with platform eligibility. When Data 360 is being set up for the first time, only a user with Salesforce administrator privileges can perform that setup. That administrator can then assign themselves the Data 360 architect permission set. This is a crucial step because the administrator needs Data 360 specific setup access in order to configure the environment. Now, in many orgs, Data 360 is automatically provisioned. However, if auto-provisioning is unavailable, or if the team is working in a Developer Edition org or a sandbox, Data 360 may need to be enabled manually. It can also be enabled in both new and existing Salesforce orgs. So the big concept here is that provisioning may be automatic in some cases, but administrators still need to understand how to verify readiness and complete setup when manual action is required. After the administrator assigns themselves the Data 360 architect permission set, they should verify that the permission assignment worked correctly. One simple indicator is this. If Data 360 setup appears after clicking the gear icon, then the assignment has been successful. This matters because setup access is not just theoretical. Administrators need a visible confirmation that the Data 360 setup tools are now available to them. So, in practical terms, This step is about both assignment and verification. Once Data 360 is available, the next step is to confirm the Salesforce CRM connection. This can be done by navigating to Data 360 Setup, then Salesforce CRM. If the Salesforce CRM connection is established and active, then Data 360 is connected properly to the core Salesforce environment. At that point, starter data bundles can also be installed. This connection is important because Data 360 is designed to work as part of a larger Salesforce ecosystem. Its value increases when it can connect to CRM data and support downstream business processes across sales, service, marketing, and analytics. So, from a conceptual perspective, think of this step as moving from setup into integration. Now, let's move into user access, which is one of the most important parts of this lesson. In Data 360, the method used to grant access depends on whether the person already has access to Salesforce CRM. If the user already has a Salesforce CRM account, they should usually be assigned a permission set. If the user does not already have a Salesforce CRM account, then a new Salesforce user account must be created, and a profile must be assigned during the user creation process. This distinction is very important, because in Salesforce, profiles and permission sets serve different roles. A profile is part of the core user record and is required when creating a new user. A permission set, by contrast, is typically used to extend or assign additional access to an existing user. So the educational takeaway is this: use profiles when creating a new user. Use permission sets when granting Data 360 access to an existing Salesforce user. That framework helps simplify what can otherwise feel like a confusing exam topic. Data 360 includes standard permission sets designed around common user personas. For example, Data 360 Architect provides access to all Data 360 features and administration. Data 360 User provides access to view Data 360 features. There are also marketing-specific permission sets. Data 360 Activation Manager has access to Data 360 and can manage the overall segmentation process, including activation targets and activations. Data 360 Activation Specialist has access to Data 360 and can create segments. The educational point here is that Salesforce uses persona-based permission design. That means standard permission sets are meant to align with common job responsibilities. So when evaluating access needs, administrators should first ask, does one of the standard permission sets already match this user's role? If the answer is yes, then that standard permission set is often the cleanest solution. Some Data 360 permission sets are considered legacy. These permission sets are still available, but Salesforce recommends transitioning to newer permission sets in order to gain access to newer features and enhancements. This tells us something important about platform evolution. As Salesforce continues to update Data 360, the recommended security and access model also evolves. So, from an implementation perspective, permission sets are the preferred approach unless a scenario requires legacy access. Now let's move into access control at the record level. In Data 360, permission sets, profiles, and sharing rules function similarly to how they do in the Salesforce core platform. At the base level, organization-wide defaults, or OWD, define the most restrictive level of record access. Then, additional access can be opened up through other mechanisms, including sharing rules. This is an important concept in Salesforce administration generally. Start with the most restrictive model, and then expand access only where it is needed. That principle supports both security and governance. It helps ensure that access is intentional rather than overly broad. So when you study OWD and sharing, try not to memorize them as isolated features. Instead, understand the logic behind them. Restrict first, then selectively open access. Now let's talk about customization. The default Salesforce Data 360 permission sets cannot be edited. So, if an administrator needs to change the access model, they must create a custom permission set. The easiest way to do that is usually by cloning an existing permission set and then modifying it. This is especially useful when a user does not fit neatly into any of the standard Data 360 persona-based roles. For example, a user may need some access from one standard role and some access from another. In that kind of situation, a custom permission set allows administrators to tailor access more precisely. And from a best practice standpoint, this is usually preferable to creating an entirely new profile. So the main lesson here is, when standard permission sets don't fit, build a custom permission set. Do not treat profile creation as the default solution. Next, let's focus specifically on Data 360 sharing rules. Sharing rules can grant particular users more access than what is allowed by OWD alone. However, before sharing rules can be configured, some prerequisites need to be in place. Groups and roles may need to be created in the org. Profiles and permission sets should also be configured appropriately. And, in many cases, permissions like View All or Modify All should be removed for objects that are meant to rely on sharing rules for access control. There is also an important distinction to remember here. Data 360 sharing rules apply to Data 360 objects. They do not apply to data stored in the Salesforce data lake. Also, these sharing rules are based only on group or role membership, which makes them different from some sharing models in the Salesforce core platform. This is a highly testable detail, so it is worth remembering clearly. Now let's turn to data spaces. A data space is a partition that organizes data, metadata, and processes into categories such as brands. This allows users to see and work with data in the context of the category they are assigned to. So, if an organization manages multiple brands or business units, data spaces help separate those working environments. Access to a data space is granted through a data space permission set, and users can work only within the data spaces assigned to them. When Data 360 is enabled, the default data space is automatically associated with the standard Data 360 permission sets. If users need access to other data spaces, then the data space permission set must be changed or a new one must be created. So the educational takeaway is this. Data spaces are not just organizational labels. They are controlled environments that shape what users can see and where they can work. The few important limits. Data 360 supports up to 20,000 Data 360 permission set licenses. The number of data spaces is limited to 50. However, in a developer org, that limit is only 1. There is also 1 data space permission set per data space. And unsupported orgs include Professional Edition and Government Cloud. These limits matter because they help define the boundaries of implementation planning. They also matter for exam prep because Salesforce exams often test whether you know platform limits, supported editions, and setup constraints. So let's summarize the full picture. Data 360 setup and administration includes preparing the administrator, provisioning the platform, confirming the Salesforce CRM connection, managing users correctly, assigning profiles and permission sets based on the user's situation, using OWD and sharing rules to control access, creating custom permission sets when default roles are not enough, and organizing access further through data spaces. A simple way to remember the topic is this. Prepare the admin, provision the platform, permit the right users, protect access with sharing and governance, and partition work through data spaces. That structure can make the topic much easier to retain for both exam scenarios and real-world understanding. If you found this lesson helpful, subscribe to CloudMind Academy for more Salesforce certification content explained in a way that is practical, structured, and easier to remember. And if you're studying for the Salesforce Data 360 certification, keep reviewing topics like this not just at the definition level, but at the administrator level. Because understanding how Salesforce is set up in practice will make you much stronger on the exam. Thanks for learning with CloudMind Academy, and I'll see you in the next lesson.